Slotkin, first of all, thanks for attending the hearing, for requesting to be on it. The title of this hearing is to define the problem and the principles used to solve it, okay? Just so you're aware, in terms of your witnesses here, both are above 400% of the poverty line. Mr. Jacobs never got an enhanced subsidy. His premium is going up from $14,500 to $19,000. Again, not because we're not extending the subsidies, because of the underlying problem of how the exchange premiums are skyrocketing. Mr. Lehman did get a subsidy last year. He won't get one this year because he's above 400%. I completely agree. These premiums are being caused by the faulty design of Obamacare. That's being caused by government. People who got lured into retirement, and that's not exactly Mr. Lehman's case, but a lot of people were during the pandemic. They retire, we're going to help you with your health care. The rug's being pulled out from under. I'm happy to work with that, but it's not 340 million people. It's not even 24 million people on the exchange. It's about 1.6 million people. And I'm more than willing, I've actually got a plan, got it scored, of providing subsidies for those people over 400. But here's my question for you, Mr. Lehman. What percent of your income do you think you ought to be required to pay for health insurance before a subsidy would kick in? And I'll just, to help you out a little bit, the enhanced subsidies allowed for you only having to pay 8.5%. The Obamacare's original design was 9.5%. So that's the way Obamacare is. So if you're at 400%, under the enhanced subsidies, you had to pay 8.5%, then you got a subsidy. Under the original design, again, most of those people in the exchange, they're going to just go back to the original Obamacare design at 9.5%. So what would be a fair rate for people who, under Obamacare, never was going to get a subsidy? 400% people, okay, you got to fend for yourself. What percent of your income do you think you and your wife ought to pay before you get a subsidy from the American taxpayer?
Senator Johnson, it's a good question. Like a lot of farms, ours is complicated. Our situation is complicated. My wife, when she got laid off, decided to go back to school so that she could provide care to people in their homes. Now, we agreed to take on some student debt because of that, because we knew that there would be the benefits of being employed and serving people in that regard. So it's a little bit complicated when you bring in all these factors about student loans.
First of all, everybody's got a situation, but again,
yes, I agree. Everybody
in terms of policy making, when Obamacare did it, they said, okay, above 400%, we're not going to subsidize you. 400% or below, it's going to be 9.5%. So again, you got to simplify this stuff. So I'm going, if you're above 400%, never we're going to get a subsidy. I want to help you folks out transition when we can actually hopefully fix the problem here. And I'd love to do it in good faith. We need 60 votes in the Senate. What would be the percentage? I just need something in mind. What do you think would be a fair percentage for you and your wife to pay of your income? I know it's not that easy. It's probably as complicated as you can get with a farm. And by the way, I've got my parents grew up on farms. My relative. I mean, I realize there's a great book, by the way, Land Rich, Cash Poor by Brian Reisinger. Read that. It's depressing. It's just showing how many families. So listen, I'm completely sympathetic that way. But again, I'm just looking for kind of a ballpark percentage. What do you think?
I don't have an exact figure for you, Senator. And I know that these issues are very, very complicated. We know that there are real issues in concentration in our rural areas, whether it's fertilizer or meatpacking or our healthcare system. And we do need to work on those things in order to create more fairness for our farmers out there. But my conversation tomorrow is with a healthcare advisor who's going to help me choose what is the best plan for us and our farm, what's most economic for my farm. And I'm afraid that conversation is going to be pretty simple. And I won't be able to get into all the other issues about why I'm here. I got to figure out how to pay for this thing.
Again, all I'm trying to convince you of is the reason premiums are so sky high is just I can describe it to a certain extent. Prior to Obamacare, we had things like high-risk pools. The caring for, and by the way, pre-existing conditions, they weren't covered perfectly, but they aren't covered perfectly under Obamacare. We talked about that earlier. In Wisconsin, you had to wait 6 months. You could buy insurance for everything else, but that condition was exempted until you had a 6-month waiting period, then it picked it up, okay? But, so again, it wasn't imperfect, but so was Obamacare. So that gets kind of lost in the conversation here. But everybody had insurance. You know, every insurance plan kicked in a little percentage to fund that. And in Maine, they did it better. It's a better system. They just took 8 different conditions, and you got put into, and you got your care paid for, but it was spread over everybody. Obamacare had the very small percentage of Americans, and prior to the pandemic, was it 10, 12 million Americans on the exchanges? That small group of Americans were forced to pay the cost of people with pre-existing conditions. No guaranteed issue. It was an enormous cost. It caused these premiums to skyrocket. Plus, when government is your customer, you know you can charge them just about anything. And that's what's happening. So again, it's just, I know I'm probably not going to convince you. If I do, let us know. I mean, announce it to the media. We have to repair the damage done by Obamacare, transition to a system that actually works, that does put consumers in charge. And that's what we have to go do. There's no government program, there's no government law you can pass that is going to force transparency and going to make people actually bring down their prices, improve their quality and service. That's what consumers do. That's Adam Smith, you know, the wealth of nations. I mean, that's what a free market system does. Obamacare is not that. But anyway, I will ask Mr. Jacobs, what do you think would be a fair percentage? Keep it at 9.5%? Oh, I guess we're not closing this thing out.
I am not a policymaker. I couldn't.
But you're a business guy.
I mean, I'm a business guy, sure, but I mean, I'm also a chef. It's not necessarily we're not necessarily the smartest men in the room all the time.
Again, you know, Obamacare topped it up. They said you have to pay 9.5% at your 400% poverty line. So Obamacare said you have to pay 9.5% of your salary for. So if you're above 400%, never contemplated to get a subsidy on Obamacare. If we decide to give you a subsidy, what do you think? I mean,
I think I'm also the wrong person to ask this question, or you to ask this question to me, because I'm going to be. I would rather pay more so people who make less could have better health care.
Okay.
I'm the wrong person to ask that question to.
Okay. Senator Hawley, thanks for coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Floor is yours.
Thank you. Oh, dangerous thing to say. Thank you.